Morning, this is Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. As you can see, it's very dark. There's my computer and monitor that should be running right now because I should be processing the videos for the day. But there's no power. The batteries are down to 11.1 volts. I can't even turn on a light. I can do nothing. So I just fired up the DC generator. This is what happens when my batteries are cold. They're 60 degrees, and we've had a cloudy day yesterday. One cloudy day with 60-degree batteries, and I sit in darkness. So I'll take you outside and show you how this gets started up. Now I've got the engine running in its crate in there, but nothing's happening yet. No power is being produced yet until I come up to the front of the RV. Now I waited for the engine to run for a few minutes so it gets warm. Now this battery cable, can't see, let me see here. Yeah, this cable stays on the negative wire always. This is a jumper cable that's literally the plus and minus wire from the alternator. The engine is turning an alternator, just like your car does. And now listen to that engine when I take the positive wire and I clamp it on to the positive of my battery bank. That engine bogged right down. It almost stalled out. Now it's pulling a lot of power to turn that alternator. That engine is using its entire 5 or 6 horsepower just to spin that alternator, and it's pumping about 100 amps of power into my battery bank. Now this little guy here, he'll run now for 4 or 5 hours until he runs out of his gas, and then I can work. Well, I can work now, but he'll put about 500 amp hours back into the battery bank. So they'll be essentially topped off. Alright, now I'm back inside. I'm going to power up the inverter. That's off. And we have power. So now I can see the red light on the monitor is on. I can turn it on. Monitor comes on. Computer I can fire up. And we have power. Sad with these batteries do not like the cold at all, but it is how they are. So we had 2 days of clouds, and it's getting darker earlier. The days are shorter. Right now it's 7:30. What was it yesterday? I don't think the sun came up till about 7:30. Today it's not gonna. It's supposed to rain. And the sun sets here. It's dark at 6. So I have about 12 hours of daylight, 13 hours of daylight, but the full sunlight hours of my batteries are reduced greatly. So even though I have 800 watts of power, I don't have as much usable energy through the day. So wintertime is coming. I gotta get those wind turbines up. Well, out in the tiny house, dark and black. That's weird. I can see back in there, but I don't know if it shows on camera. I gotta get some lights in the kitchen so you can see me work. See what I'm doing. Well, I'm about to put this last piece and trim it up in here right now. And then I've got a 12-foot 2x4 that's gonna go up here at the base of the kitchen cabinets, and then I'm going to cut the legs shorter, and then the 2x4 will be screwed on to the wheel well here, and then the legs will be screwed to the 2x4, and it'll be shaved off here. So basically this much space is my toe gap for under the cabinets, and I'm going to run a board down over there below the 2x4 and extend it out to the wall, so that it looks uniform all the way across. And then, of course, so that the 2x4 has support back there. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about kitchen cabinets and doors and things. Well, it's all going to be custom made, so there's no specific dimensions. That's why I'm not worried about how things come together. It's going to be however I want it to be. Now, under the kitchen sink, I have to give some thought as to how I want to have these doors, how big I want to have them. But that's obviously too big for one door. That's a gigantic hole for one door. So I'm going to give some thought to that later on. But that I can always do in winter. Framing under the counters I can do in winter. But as I had said before, varnishing the countertops is top priority while it's still warm. Paneling the kitchen walls can be done anytime. So that's not an urgent thing. So I've been sitting here this morning looking at priorities and getting the plumbing in, getting gas in here. That's urgent before it gets too cold to work outside. So I gotta finish this countertop and get the sink in there, get that stovetop in there, and then I can measure the pipes and see what I need. I don't know why somebody thought I should do the plumbing before the countertop is in. I don't know how you could do that, really. And I'm going to finish this wall down to the floor. And I'm probably not putting a battery bank here in the living room. I think it's going to go out on the back bumper of the trailer, which a lot of people have suggested and I'm starting to like more and more. Now that's going to be a problem to heat the batteries because right now they're suffering at 60 degrees. So what I'm thinking about doing is down over here in the kitchen. I hope you can see what I'm showing you. I'm thinking about down over here in the kitchen temporarily running the batteries underneath the counter, down on the floor, the temporary batteries I'm using right now, and then running a hole through the wall and having now I'm going to have to go and get some expensive wire to do this, but I am tired of crouching down and looking at weird angles and awkward positions to try to see my battery status. So I want to build a box right about at eye level on the wall that'll contain my charge controller and voltmeters and wind power controllers and everything else. But that means I'm going to have to spend $5 a foot to get the wire, the heavy thick wire, to run down and in through the wall and into the battery bank. So I think it's worthwhile though to have a comfortable view of all my equipment in the future. Right there on the wall in the corner. I think that's exactly where I want it. So that way then my plumbing will probably run through that same wall. The wires will run through that wall. Everything will go right through there into an insulated box on the back of the trailer. Well, I haven't been recording, but I got this 2x4 in place all the way along the base and extends all the way to the wall. And then I cut a piece of plywood to drop in down here and fill in the gap. And then I'm going to cut the legs of the countertop that I made off short so that they come to the bottom of the 2x4, and that'll be my toe space. And that'll give me precisely 4 inches with a 2-inch overhang of the counter, which overhangs this, and the roughly, well, 1.5 inch of a 2x4. Anyway, that'll give me roughly the 2 inches toe room that I need. can see me back here. I'm getting used to my camera not exactly showing everything. What I'm doing right now is lining up the 2x4 with the plywood and screwing it in place tight to the top. So it's one unit. And now I'm just going to go in and put the screws in the rest of the way across. And I'll come back with the camera and show you what I've done. See, now I've got this space here for my feet. And these will be zipped off right here. Right at the bottom edge of this 2x4. So there's my toe room. And then I extended it all the way back to the end. And put the plywood in here as a backer. And I'm going to put a little piece of wood in behind here and there, a couple pieces there here and there, so if somebody actually does kick it, it won't put undue stress on that board, pushing it out and backwards. So inside, on the inside of the cabinet, of the plywood, I'll screw some boards down to the floor. So that'll be really strong and secure now. I just cut this last piece for that trim in the corner. Let me grab my drill and some screws. It's going to be awkward holding that and screwing it. Let me see which way is up. Push this down this way. I don't know how I'm going to do this alone. There's nothing to hold it in place while I attempt to work with it. Very good. Ties in the loft. Really nice, strong now. Oh. Well, I smashed a hole right into the wood. Bummer. Well, I think that'll do it. Grab the camera and show you what I got here. There now, the loft is tied in just like this piece is, and it ties into each of the boards here. I have now the same, and it looks nice. It now looks complete where that butts up against the other one. It's a piece of trim and reinforcing. So that's very good how that finishes the look there. Covers up the ends of these boards nicely. Gives them something to tie into. Looks good and gives me somewhere to run my indirect lighting. So this is going to be really nice in here. Coming along. Really looking good. I like the raw wood look. I spent the whole morning sanding. Now this I did not do because it gets cut off right here by the edge of the sink. Just actually most of that piece gets cut off. So the countertop is sanded fully. Along the edge I could not reach, so I'll put a piece of trim in here to cover that. That'll be fine. That'll be perfect. So I'm going to wait a little bit and let the dust settle. I think I'll have lunch. Let the dust in here settle. Brush this off one more time and polyurethane it. I think I'm also going to make the cuts here. I have to cut that back for the kitchen sink to fit in here. And then I'll dust everything down and wipe it with a rag and polyurethane it. It'll be coat number 1 done today. It'll be a 5-day project finishing my countertop, but after that, then the snow may come, because I think most of the things I can do after that don't require the windows to be open in warm weather. But this is very important. Well, there it is, the first coat of polyurethane. It really brings out the colors in the wood and the grain. I decided to go with polyurethane because it will seal into the gaps and cracks, and it will build up a finish which will protect my counter from food and bacteria. I did study a lot, and I did get a lot of advice from a lot of people, and I know different people have different preferences, but I studied because this is a softwood countertop. Generally mineral oil is used on hardwoods and not on softwoods, and if I had used mineral oil, if I had had any gaps that didn't fill in properly with glue or whatever, food and stuff could get in there and build up bacteria, so I didn't want to risk that. So I did go with the polyurethane in the end. But it really brings out the color and the texture of the wood very nicely. I am quite satisfied with that. And again, as I said, I hope it's going to fill the cracks and build up a very nice thick layer on my countertop. I'm going to put in multiple coats on this and keep on going until there's a really nice thick buildup and all the cracks and seams and joints are nicely sealed off, nice and tight and permanently, so that I have a very safe wood countertop. But it really looks pretty. So now I have to wait. Look at how it brings out the colors and the patterns in the wood. Really stands out. Really looks nice. Well, for better or for worse, there it is. That's it. That's my new kitchen counter. It's going to be a high gloss, which will help reflect light and make it brighter in here, and hopefully be durable. There it is. Yeah, it's going to be very high gloss. Won't be able to wash dishes when the sun's shining in. Alright, well, I'm going to go take a break and clear my head. This has really been a serious burden on my mind. Now that this is done, I'm going to clear my head a bit and think about what's next. Well, this isn't done, but I mean the first coat. Now I have to wait till tomorrow and do it again. I did, though, take heed for people's warnings, and I did varnish the inside lips all the way around, and with each coat I will continue doing so that just in case if water ever did get under the sink, which I'm hopefully going to prevent, but just in case, then I will have it varnished inside as well. But I like it. I really like it. Well, there's my new kitchen coming along. Really coming along now. Sorry, I keep staring at it. I hope you like it as much as I do. I wasn't sure if you could see the difference until I turned on the camera, and I think now you can. I just oiled the wall a little bit, just down to the, yeah, you can see that. I oiled just to the windowsill. You can see a serious difference in color and in depth of the wood, and in a little bit of a sheen to it too. So I used mineral oil from Tractor Supply, sold as a horse laxative. It's food grade mineral oil. And just to see how it would look, I wanted to do this and try it on there. Well, not just to see, but also because I need to make sure this wood doesn't start splitting and drying and cracking on me. So that looks really good, but my arm is tired because I just finished varnishing and now oiling the wall, so I'll stop at that point right now. You can see right there where I stopped, halfway between this board here. And I only did this part of the frame of the window. I didn't do the top part yet. But I just wanted to really see if there was a noticeable difference. Now it really looks like a rusted cottage inside. It does make a difference. You can see where I stopped. It brings out the color in the wood. Nice, because that's just a dull... Just imagine when I finish the entire house like that. Because that's a dull looking wood right there, and there's beauty. I like it. See the knots, the colors in the knots and the patterns. It really brings out the colors. I think it's nice. Like that, especially all the colors in that, the swirls in it. Here's another spot I like. But yeah, definitely makes a difference. So now I'm going to take my break. I said I was gonna a little bit ago when I finished this section. I do have a problem. I have some bugs suiciding in here. I don't know how I'm going to be dealing with that as time goes on. It's going to mess up my finish. I've got bugs and different things falling on it and jumping in it. But that's the problem with being out here off the grid in the woods. Well, I can't wait to have that coated up and finished nicely. It's going to be good. Well, it's break time. Little Harbor Freight generator quit running the other day. I think I mentioned it. And I thought the exhaust had come loose, but what it was is it blew a head gasket. So I took the shield off and I pulled the head off and found out, I guess what happened here is this bolt down here had come loose on the head, and that allowed air to bypass and burnt a hole in the head gasket, burn it right through. Then the engine died out on me the other day, and it wouldn't start again for anything at all. Well, I got it running. It's improvised for now. I pulled the head and basically folded the head gasket a little bit tighter to close that gap a bit, and it's running, but it's temporary at best. Now I don't feel like going in for a guarantee replacement because this generator is serving me well, and with Harbor Freight, if you get a machine that runs, you really like to keep it. So I think I'm going to try to get a head gasket for that. I do have a 2-year guarantee on this though. I think I have 1 more year guarantee on this because I got the 2-year extended. But I really don't want to give this one up because it runs. It's been faithful. So I'm going to look that up and see about getting a head gasket. It shouldn't be much. Shouldn't be a problem at all to get one or make one. But it runs. It still runs. I'm also going to look into lubing the bearing up in here before that ever blows out on me. Because I heard you got to take off the shield or the shroud or whatever, and you can lube that bearing for a longer life of the generator. And I really like to keep it because I really like it.